Hello, welcome back to Pixel Lore. I had to remember the name of the channel. I'm Mr. Pixel in my business attire. We have. You look like a Nazgul with your hood on like that.
I mean, I look a little like it without my hood, but here I am. One foot in the shadow here.
So last week we finished The Hobbit, which was, we went there and back again. So now it's time for a little break. We've decided to dip into a chapter of the Silmarillion. Let me go ahead and open that up. Of Beren and Luthien. And this was really one of your suggestions, Landry.
Yes.
You
yes.
know?
It was, okay, this was I know this tale. It is a very important tale in Tolkien's Legendarium, and I'll get into that in a minute, but I've always wanted to read it. I know the story, but I had never read Tolkien's own words of it. Which Pixel just found out off camera a moment ago, that I tricked him into reading something I hadn't read. But I read it today, and
me too.
Now we're here to share. So it is so different than reading The Hobbit, right? Like,
oh my god,
it's so dense.
Yeah, because this is really. If you've gone into, my brother for a little while was really going into the books of mythology by Stephen Fry. And he was mostly listening to the audiobooks. He bought the physicals too, but he didn't read it. He just listened to the audiobook, which I am in no place to talk about because I got the Silmarillion read by Andy Serkis. And then I was like, you know what? No, I need the book. And so I bought it.
I want to hear Beren and Luthien read by Andy Serkis. I'm going to pick that up after probably tomorrow, and listen to it.
There you go. Andy Serkis is a good narrator. I will say that. But it is so. You're being told a myth. That's what this is, and that's what's different. And you know what? Myths are great. I love mythology. It's a little harder when it's fantasy mythology because it doesn't feel. Mythology in itself already has a feeling that's like, okay, this is something that someone once told as not only a lesson, but somebody once believed. When you add that layer to a fantasy series, it's like it's a little harder.
I felt the same way for years and did not invest myself in this. And now, really, I feel like as I've gotten older and older and older, I have reached a point where something changed for me. And this is kind of what makes Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit so fascinating for me, is that there's this deep underlying mythology that he crafted from scratch through his understanding of mythology and mythological studies, that he could build this dense legendarium of tales of heroism and tragedy. And these are familiar characters. Like, for one, I don't know how familiar, like, this doesn't explain it here, but these are the ancestors of Aragorn, and Beren and Luthien. Their tale foreshadows, like, they say that Arwen is the embodiment of Luthien. And Luthien is interesting to me because she is half Maiar. Her mother is of the same type of being as Gandalf, though not diminished in power the way Gandalf is in his mission. She is her mother is of the same race as Sauron. So when Luthien faces Sauron, and we talk about strong female heroes, look what Luthien does in this story. I mean, Beren tries to do the manly thing and take this quest on by himself, for himself, and protect her. She saves him twice.
Yep.
More than twice. He's always near death. She is half goddess, and she comes in and she tears down the stone. She sings Morgoth to sleep. Like, I mean, this is a being of immense beauty and power, told through this lens of Tolkien's perspective. And we keep hearing things like, oh, there's no strong female heroes in these older materials, but yet you go back and read this. This
Yeah.
Luthien is an amazing character, an amazing heroine, and basically his wife.
Yeah, no, I was about to say that. I think that's also adding a layer to the tale that you can see. He writes with such love.
Yeah, he does. It's all love and sacrifice and honor, and it there's so much like of that reframes when I read these stories, when I look at this work, when I invest myself in Silmarillion. What I love is how much it reframes parts of the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit for me, that I get to this sense of Sauron. When Luthien, when the Hound has Sauron pinned as a werewolf, and then he changes to a snake, and then he changes to a bat, but it's all just so visceral, like this time when the gods themselves warred upon Middle Earth, um and things were just so much more.
That's what makes it harder for me to imagine, though, a little bit, because it's such a level like that.
Yeah,
just like when you go ahead and you talk about, oh well, Zeus came down from Mount Olympus as a crane and was like, I really like the look of that human.
yeah. Well, he's pervy as hell, so
yes. But it's something that just doesn't slide into the mind as well as a little hobbit that lives in his hole and is coming out on a great adventure. It doesn't. Right. It's not as. It's the perspective. This is such a grand tale. This is absolutely a pure, like, oh well, this is a fairy tale within the world of Middle Earth, which is already in itself trying to be a fairy tale told from that perspective. And that's what makes it a little harder to digest.
The this bit when Beren and 10 elves, including Felagund, get captured by Sauron, and this poem of this battle of verse basically is told, like, thus befell the contest of Sauron and Felagund, which is renowned. For Felagund strove with Sauron in songs of power, and the power of the king was very great, but Sauron had the mastery, as it is told in the Lay of Luthien. And this poem here, he chanted a song of wizardry, of piercing, opening, of treachery, revealing, uncovering, betraying, the sudden Felagund there swaying, sang in answer a song of staying, resisting, battling against power, of secrets kept, strength like a tower, and trust unbroken, freedom escape, of changing, of shifting shape. I mean, this is the cadence, the rhythm, the intensity of it compared to that Tolkien's poetry, as well as his writing, that he could go from The Hobbit to this, to Roads Go Ever On, to this almost, I don't know, rap battle going on here. This is some really, it is dense. It is difficult to invest oneself in purposefully, I believe, because Tolkien obviously could have written this in a way that we could have processed better, right? But he chose this for a reason. We're not supposed to intersect with this casually. We're supposed to intersect like this as scholars, as historians.
I'm going to go ahead and cut to the part after where he goes ahead, he's faced the wolf, and he returns.
Oh yeah.
And he says, "I return according to my word. I am come now to claim my own." And Thingol answered, "What of your quest and of your vow?" And Beren said, "It is fulfilled. Even now, a Silmaril is in my hand." And Thingol said, "Show it to me." Beren put forth his hand, slowly opening his fingers, but it was empty. Then he held up his right arm, and from that hour he named himself Camlost the Empty-Handed. But then Thingol's mood was softened, and Beren sat before his throne upon the left and Luthien upon the right, and they told all the tale of the quest, while all there listened and were filled with amazement. And it seemed to Thingol that this man was unlike all other mortal men, and among the great in Arda, and that the love of Luthien was a thing new and strange, and he perceived that their doom might not be withstood by any power of the world, and therefore, at the last, he yielded his will, and Beren took the hand of Luthien before the throne of her father. That little bit right there is such a that's where you get the goodness in the tale. And when he starts it off, because he doesn't talk about Beren for like 3 pages in this chapter when you start, but finally you get to that, and he doesn't actually get to complete that quest at the end because it wasn't in his hand. It's a wolf burning him away. I thought about this
because going back when Thingol sets him on this path, Thingol and Beren use very different language for this. Thingol says, bring to me in your hand a Silmaril from Morgoth's crown, and then, if she will, Luthien may set her hand in yours. Beren says, where is it? Beren says, and when we meet again, my hand shall hold a Silmaril from the Iron Crown. He doesn't say, I'll bring it to you. Thingol says, bring it to me. Beren says, I'll hold one in my hand. Tolkien, I was wondering how Tolkien wrinkled out of Beren's kind of half success there, you know.
But in that moment, which it feels very much like the tale, he doesn't doubt it. His daughter went along there with it.
He knows it. He knows that there's this is worth paying attention to.
And he recognizes in that moment that it's not some flight of fancy. She really does love him, and he absolutely loves her. And so, even though he did not bring it back, it is that moment of joy. But now a shadow fell upon the joy.
Of course, because
right after, there's no time to breathe.
No, well, but it's not that kind of tale. It's like it is Tolkien. Like I said, Tolkien absolutely could have written this tale in the same voice he did Lord of the Rings, or he could have written it in the same voice he did The Hobbit. He didn't want to. He chose for it to be invested. It is within his universe, a in-universe mythology. They know of these tales. This was a book. Now, you know the conceit here. This is a book that, just like The Hobbit was written by The Hobbit, this is written by the elves. And they are unreliable narrators. The Silmarillion is supposed to be a history of Middle-earth as written by the elves that he's adapted to English. But that's what the conceit is. This is the accounting of the history of Middle-earth by the elves themselves.
But I am definitely glad to finally get around to this story. It's not really. It's not even a sad ending. It's not even a sad. I know, like, he goes ahead, he does die, but then the gods look upon it and say, "Well, you can go ahead and join, or you can live your lives together." And he gives that gift. They give that gift of you get immortal time.
Yeah, and they have children, and of their line is Aragorn and Elrond. Both come. I mean, so technically Aragorn and Arwen are cousins, but there's so many generations between. But because of that, Aragorn is technically a demigod. He is a descendant of a Maiar and an elf and humans. Like, he is just a little bit of that god blood in him. I love this bit at the end of the poem I was reading earlier. The wolf howls, the ravens flee, the ice mutters in the mouths of the sea. Like, oh, that is good stuff. But no wizardry nor spell, neither fang nor venom, nor devil's art, nor beast strength could overthrow Hwin of Valinor. I don't know how you pronounce Huan? Huin? Huin. of Valinor.
Yes.
But yeah, it is a different time when two people could walk into the lair of Morgoth and throw down and pry a Silmaril from Morgoth's crown, the guy who Sauron was subservient to. Two people walked in and took his crown from him. By the time Lord of the Ring comes around, that's not happening. I just want to say.
No.
So
no,
I see why it's hard to read, but I do love it.
It's so different. That's what it is. It is very, very different. It is still made with such tender love and care.
Oh yeah.
Definitely don't regret doing it though. That's what I will say.
It is a piece that, like I said, I think it changes. It gives us so much depth when we look at the larger story. And when we do talk about Lord of the Rings, we're going to find moments where we call back to this. I know we will. That's going to be really interesting. Because Lord of the Rings, when you read Fellowship, there's so many things that end up calling back to Silmarillion. It's going to be interesting.
Well, we won't continue that journey next week, but the following week we shall start our trek. That is it for us. If all 0 of you watching, Big Fat 0, all 0 of you watching, and those later on have any thoughts, leave them down below. Like, subscribe in the non-existent realm that we are in. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.